So I'm going to show you how to use another module within the Chatty Subjects EYFS. So just to take you on the route through to that, this is the top level menu, and if you click on Chatty Subjects and then click on EYFS, that will take you to the top level of the EYFS topic vocabulary. And I'm going to explain today how to use animals and living things. So we'll click on this icon. And you can see there are three different sections within animals and living things. We'll do dinosaurs first because that's just one section in its own right. So as you're used to, we've got the teaching tools up at the top and then the games for consolidation and repetition along the bottom there. And I always suggest you go into word map first so you can get the measure of which are the 10 vocabulary words that we are covering within our dinosaurs section. So let's click on word map, and this gives you an overall view of each of the vocabulary terms that we're going to be covering. We didn't have space to put Tyrannosaurus Rex in there, so we just got T-Rex. You can click on any one of these and brainstorm it with the class. Really nice classroom activity. I would tend to use this once I've done some teaching of the vocabulary. It's a really nice way of checking if children have remembered what you've taught them, if it's something that they've continued to remember, maybe the same day you taught it, a day later, a few days later, the following week. So it just allows for that continual checking on remembering and the consolidation of vocabulary. But it's easy to complete any one of these bubbles, and it will be a nice activity on the carpet with the whole class. You could ask any of the children, can they remember the answers to these? If they can't remember the answers, you can give it to them. If you click on the picture,
Velociraptor,
it will say what it is. So obviously this is called a I'm not quite sure, I can't remember how to spell it now. I might have spelled this wrong. I remember going away and checking before we did. Oh, it's got an I rather than an E. Can you think of another item that's in this same group? So I'm going to put T-Rex. A word that goes with Velociraptor is fast, because I know that they're very fast at running. The initial sound of the word is the V sound. What's it look like? Got a long tail. Sharp claws. You get the idea of how to use this. If I could type, etc. Where do you find them? In the prehistoric times. Fortunately, you won't come across them anywhere at the moment. And then you could screen capture that if you want to record the children's answers. Might be good if you're working one-to-one, or good for a group or a whole class as well. So I would tend to go into word map first, not to do the activity I've just done, but just to see what all the words are. But when I come to want to teach these words for the first time, I would use word cards. And then we've got each picture coming up one at a time.
Brachiosaurus, T.Rex, Stegosaurus.
Okay, and so you can keep going through teaching those words in quite a broad, high-level way. But what you want to do to help a child remember words is to flesh out each word and go into depth with each of these words. And the way of doing that is to use this spinner here at the bottom. And this has been set up to prompt you with all the cues you need to help the child remember vocabulary. And this is the way of teaching vocabulary in the most efficient, evidence-based way. And it's the way speech and language therapists are trained to deliver vocabulary. So tell them what this is called. It's a Stegosaurus. Talk to them about what it looks like. Obviously, it's got lots of spikes along its back. It's got quite short legs. Where would you find them? What's the initial sound of the word? Think of another word that goes with Stegosaurus. Another item from this group of vocabulary words that we're learning. Back to the beginning again. And then you could go on to another word. I would tend to teach one or two of these words at a time. Certainly any child with language difficulties needs a lot of exposure to each word. On average, a child needs to be exposed to vocabulary to a particular vocabulary word about 15 times for it to become part of their own vocabulary. If they've got any sort of language disorder, that goes up to about 35 times. So they're going to need to be exposed to this word lots of times before it sticks and is then usable, retrievable, recognisable. And of course, that's where pairs, Kim's Game and Magic Cups comes in, because playing these games, having fun, provides the opportunity to keep exposing the child to the vocabulary. So we've looked at word cards, which is probably the first thing I would use. I would go back into Word Map to do some review and consolidation work once I've done some teaching. But then we've got a different teaching tool here called Scenes. And the idea of this is that it's going to be good for helping promote oracy, general discussions about a picture and stories, but also it comes with blank levels of comprehension bedded into it. So you can see questions along the bottom here, and you can see this first one has got a number 1 next to it. So that's telling you that this is a level 1 blank levels question. Quite a concrete question. Where are the dinosaur bones? Point to the dinosaur bones. Point to a dinosaur. What can you see? What's the man doing? Copy what I'm saying. Dinosaur. What colour is the dinosaur bone? Now we're going on to level 2 questions. And it keeps going through, providing you with questions, slowly building up through the different levels of complexity of blank levels. Now we're up to level 3, much less concrete, starting to become abstract. What might happen next? So is the child able to predict? What might the man say when he finds more bones? What happened before this scene? How are the dinosaurs in his thought bubble the same or different? Find something the man puts his tools in. Then we're on to number 4. Why is the man carefully brushing the bones? Why is he thinking about dinosaurs? What might the bones tell us? Etc, etc. Now you have the option to decide what levels of blank questions you want the system to give to you. Maybe you're working with one particular child who's currently at level 1 and you're working on getting that child to level 2. Well, you don't really want level 3 and level 4 questions coming up. So if you just save that away, you'll only now be presented with level 1 and level 2. So don't forget to go back into settings where you can change blank levels. Maybe you've got a child who's wanting to go from level 3 to level 4, and you probably don't want all the easy level 1 and 2 questions. So lots of options here. But if you're working with the whole class, nice to have the range so that you'll know some children are still at maybe level 1 or 2, some children are 2 to 3, and you can specifically pitch a question for each child. Lovely way of differentiating. You don't have to use the blank level questions, you can just use it as a general prompt for discussion. So that just tells you a little bit about the scenes part. I'll just quickly go through the games. I've explained them in each section, so sorry if you've already watched the other sections, but you can stop watching the video if you know how to play it. So we've got pairs, and you can either have 8 cards, or if you go to settings, you can choose 12 cards. But as we're working with EYFS, I would probably set it back to 8. And then we've got a fossil, and we've got a triceratops. Oh, we've got 2 fossils together, so we've got a pair. So you get the idea of playing that game. Obviously, it's important to keep saying what the pictures are, exposing the child to that vocabulary. If the child clicks on a picture,
Paleontologist.
it will say what it is as well.
Stegosaurus.
So there's a little bit of auditory input for a child if they're not working with an adult. We've got Kim's Game, and we've got Triceratops, Velociraptor. I can't remember what that one's called. And we've got T-Rex. Is that one Spinosaurus? Right, which one's disappeared? Is it Velociraptor or Caveman and Woman? It was Velociraptor there. And then you could play again. It will spin them all and then hide one of them. And you've got to remember, was it the fossil or the Triceratops? But obviously it's important to keep saying what each thing is. And a little game called Magic Cups. So
Paleontologist.
if we click on the picture, it will tell us what it is. It's the paleontologist, which is going to hide away. And then it's going to move quite slowly so that the child has got to keep up with it and watch where it's going. And then at the end, decide where the picture is. Okay, You can make this go faster if you've got a child that needs a bit more of a challenge.
Stegosaurus.
That's the Stegosaurus, so now that's going to move a lot faster. And you've really got to have your wits about you now and properly concentrate. I would probably feel the other slower setting is more suitable for EYFS, but you may have some children with excellent visual memory, so you can challenge them a little bit more. And essentially that's how to use the dinosaur part. Let's have a look at mini beasts now. And now I'm not going to go into as much detail. Let's look at all the different mini beasts that we're going to be covering here, so you can check the vocabulary out. And obviously we could use the word map tool to review, consolidate the vocabulary with the children.
Snail.
But I'm going to go into word cards as my main teaching tool.
Butterfly. Beetle.
And we've got the spinner here, which is going to take us through the answers for each. We've got to give the answers for each one to the children. And we can work on another word, etc. And then you've got your scenes. So again, it's just pulling together some people in the garden with lots of mini beasts. Hopefully not too traumatic, but these mini beasts are very big and not terribly realistic, but it's just so that there's something to talk about. And then you've got a series of the blank questions. As I've mentioned to you before, you can decide which level you want on display. And then you've got the same games again, so I won't go into that in any more detail. Then for growth, you've got growth of plants, growth of humans, animals and their babies, and then life cycles. So within plants, just to show you the vocab, you can brainstorm any of that, or you can use the main teaching tool. Get that up on your big smart board when you're teaching each of these words. Use your spinner so that you're immersing the children in really good vocabulary teaching. And then you've got a scene, lovely one just to have a discussion, great for oracy, what might have happened before, what might happen after, have they done any gardening, just get the children talking about gardening, what do they know about seeds. But then you could also be using these blank level questions if you want to work your way through that. Same games again. Then you've got humans. So just to show you the vocab, we're going from being a baby through to teenagers through to elderly, just so the children are learning all those different stages of vocabulary for ages of adults. We've got animals and their babies, and there are two different sets of these. So easy animals, there's the vocab. So you're teaching them things like dog and puppy, sheep and lamb. You'd be amazed how many children don't know the baby names for animals. And then slightly harder ones, goat and kid, goose and gosling. And you can brainstorm any of those. You've got your big pictures for your teaching of each of those. And then you've got a composite picture for discussion. You've got some ducks in the pond there, and blank level questions to go with it. All the usual games. Then we've got life cycles, and we cover 3 different life cycles. I know schools might cover different ones than these, but we sort of went with the ones that seem to most often get chosen. Although I appreciate we haven't got frogs and tadpoles here. Let's have a look at sunflower. Again, look at all the vocabulary we're covering here. Got all your pictures ready made for you. And you can be using those to teach the children in class.
Seedling. Sunflower.
And you've got your vocabulary cues there. And then a nice scene. So just a nice one for discussion with blank level questions again. And the games as usual. Butterfly, there's your vocab. You can look at those in the big form. Means you don't have to make any pictures. Oh, I didn't show you the composite picture. That's quite nice. You can see the egg and the caterpillar, and you can see the chrysalis and the butterflies. I know there's a special name for that net, but I can't remember what it is now, but I did know it when I was creating these a while ago. And obviously you've got your blank level questions again. Sometimes you'll see a bar of red coming up. That's just an instruction for the adult so that they know what to say. So Adult to point to one of the butterflies and then say, find another one like this. So if it's in a red bar, that's just an instruction to you to tell you what to do. And then, as usual, the games. And finally, we've got chicken. There's all your vocab. And you've got your composite picture. It's nice, representative of what happens in the classroom, with the blank level questions. Okay, so that shows you what's involved within animals and living things.